Hello and welcome back to my video blog. Hope you're having a great summer. Just want to touch base on one item that's been coming up more recently, because what we're seeing is an increased number of homes falling out of escrow. And it's always frustrating for all the parties involved when you go through all the trouble, the showings of a house, for example, you go into escrow and the buyer either changes their mind, something happens personally, they do an inspection, they find some items on a house. So really what I want to talk about is negotiating, because when you sell a home or when you buy a home, you're not done when you make the offer and it gets accepted. That's all the start, that's when we open escrow, but there's some other items to go through. And I always jokingly say it's not like buying a loaf of bread, here's $2, here's the bread, you're done. Selling a house is a little bit more involved, and obviously the dollar value makes people nervous. It's a huge investment, so there's a lot of doubts and concerns. So when I'm talking to people about selling their house, I think it's really important that they understand that they are now in the business and they're selling a product. And when a buyer comes along, it's easy to not be too excited about an offer, for example. And I tell those clients, listen, we need to treat everybody like they're a customer. If you're a store and you're a customer and somebody comes in and expresses an interest in your product, you want to treat them fairly and reasonably. And sometimes they make a proposal and it doesn't work for you. No harm, no foul. They came in, they tried, they saw. So what I want to get to the point in here is, if you're in the position where you're thinking of selling your home, or you're going to be, just remember this. And this may change if the market changes drastically. But right now, you put a home in escrow, you got to realize that you're not done with the process. So a home inspection comes in, and it's probably a home inspection and a loan are the two big issues we have to get through in getting that point, that what we call a contingency removal, where the buyer signs this form saying, hey, we're all satisfied. If we back out now, you have a right to our deposit. Before that, a buyer can back out with no consequences. So the home inspection always is going to bring things up. No house is perfect. So when we're talking to buyers, we want to prepare them for the fact that there's going to be flaws, there's defects. They live in a house now that probably has defects, they're used to them. Okay, so we try to put it in perspective. And then from the seller side, we have to let them know that this could be new information for a buyer. And if they're not willing to work with that buyer and have what we call probably a second negotiation, then there's a good chance that the sale won't go through and then they have to start over. So the point being this, okay, if you're being in the process of selling a home, there's a few things to remember. One, there's going to be bumps in the road. Okay. Two, when things do come up, don't make a snap decision. Sit back and look at them. Don't be attached to the outcome. Just take a look and go, okay, here's an item that we didn't know existed in this house. It needs to be fixed. It's going to cost $1,500. Okay, is it worth us still for an extra $1,500 to go through? Will the seller split it? Will the buyer split it? Have that conversation, work through it reasonably, and at the end of the day, don't be attached. If you have to pull out as a buyer, you pull out, and as a seller, you just say, that's just more than I want to do, I'll stay here. Then you have to look at those items. The main thing being, just take a look at the situation as a whole, and if you look at the whole picture and say, okay, and not to make light of $1,000, but if you're paying $500,000, again, as an example for a home, and there's a $1,000 fix, it's like you're paying a little bit more. If you borrow the money, how much is it per month? Break it down to financially, can we afford this? Is it still worth it? Or do we want to go look for another home? So either from the buyer or seller perspective, realize that it's a struggle. You're going to work together, and if people do work together, that comes out fine. And most people, by the end of the time, the house is either sold or bought. And both sides are pretty happy, but it can be frustrating along the way. So if you have questions about that process, give me a call. But I just see it coming up a lot, and I just want to share that with you on how to move through that process to get the success that we want, which is if you're selling your home, to get it sold and closed, and if you're buying a home, to finish it up and move into your new home. Thanks again. Have a great day. And if you have any questions, we're at 805-781-3750. Thank you and have a great day.